So today we have two main topics for our webinar. We will be evolving around data, and first have a look at operating model for data governance, and that is a part of the business technology standard materials. And that will be presented by Menno Huiben, who is a senior executive for BT Forum. So that will be the first 15 or 20 minutes or so of our afternoon together. Followed by Menno, we will have the delight to welcome Ville Ikonen from Konecranes, who is working as a head of data. And for what I've understood, Ville can really talk data with the business. So he will be sharing a very good insights as to how the data governance and quality have evolved at Konecranes and what is the current situation. He has some really bold statements to do with that. And I am so excited to share those with all of you this afternoon. But without further ado, Menno, would you please take your turn and start walking us through the business technology standard and the related operating model for data governance?
Yeah, sure, Lotta. Thank you for the introduction and welcome everybody. Yeah, my name is Menno Huiben and I actually joined at the beginning of this year the BT Forum. A few words about myself. I graduated in or specialized in operation research, so I've been always quite interested in data and data in the context of decision making. Then before I joined Sovicate, I had my career was very much about how IT can support engineering, product development management processes, and I became a bit of a specialist in product lifecycle management solutions and projects. And then for those of you who are familiar with those projects, they know they are the typical ones that always go over budget and over time schedule. And that was also one reason to join Sovicate, that I would like to contribute on how to succeed better with running projects. But the reason why those PLM projects also quite often go over budget and fail and go too slow has very much to do with the topic Ilkka is going to tell us more about, is data quality, because product data quality is also quite a challenging topic. But before we let Ilkka talk a bit about how Konecranes is succeeding with their data quality, I thought I'd give you a bit of an overview still of what the business technology standard has to tell about data and data governance. So I'll give you a quick overview. I won't spend too much time. Then Ville has more time to tell his interesting story. And I'm looking forward to that because when I tell you about the PLM data quality issues, when I talked last week with Ville as preparation, he was able to tell me immediately to quantify what is the data quality at Konecranes, and I thought that was quite impressive that you are able to do that. So I'm looking forward to hear your story soon. But a bit still about the business technology standard and how that addresses the topic of data governance. I hope you're all familiar with the standard, and here are the four main icons of the standard: the mindset model, the capability areas, the operating model, and of course the roles and responsibilities. But all four of them, they also very much applied on how to succeed and manage data, because the mindset model you can use in the discussion with your business to explain the role of data in there. The operating model is, of course, also very much relevant on how to develop data. The capabilities mentioned in the model, of course, you need all of them in order to succeed with data. And the last but not least is, of course, succeeding with data means also assigning the right roles and responsibilities, especially to the business. And that, I think, is also something that Ilkka will tell more about on how to succeed, really making the business understand what roles they should take and what are important. Still in the context of the business standard, we have the website, the public information, that we have then also the extensions, as we call them. Those extensions are available through conducting a training. I think Lotte will tell a bit at the end of the seminar when those trainings are available. But one of those extensions is the operating model for data governance. I soon give you a bit of an overview, the highlights of that model. For now, you can, of course, already access at the BT Forum. There are two interesting articles published. Those are free to download. The first one gives also a bit of an insight in this whole data governance and management topic, how to operate it. And the second one, Ilka also contributed to that one, is then especially dedicated to our topic today on the data quality discipline and how to go about with that. So please have a look at those articles. They're very well written and interesting to read. So still a few words then about the data governance extension model. I show here the list of content. These are the topics that are being handled there or discussed. I thought I show a few slides about the building awareness, because I think that's definitely the place to start, to make people aware of how importance of data, and then a few slides on how data quality is being discussed. So with the building awareness part, for me, this slide is very important to kind of start to engage also the business and to make really discussion going in an organization on where do we want to be with data, and to start a discussion that how can we get value out of data. There needs to be definitely a vision in place on what exactly is it what we want to do. In order to get on the right side, you can see the type of business benefits you might be looking for. That could be new business models or ways to earn money with your data, or just improve your operational process excellence, or improve the experience of your customers, or decision making, or that type of topics. And as you can see, also the key success factors are listed here. So really recognizing that data can be a strategic business asset. And the most important one is then definitely the people and culture and competence aspect, because it's really about people and making people understand the importance of data.
I think this is a very good picture, and especially the highlighted pink part on the left, that when you start doing whatever, you need to have the vision. And here, of course, the vision is something quite abstract as to how to turn data into value. But I think when we had the preparation session with Ville, you concretized it so well that what can this vision be, that it can be something really, really simple, that you decide that, okay, we need to understand, for example, what data assets we have currently, that we need to have a list of that, or we need to have whatever little baby step, and that can be the first vision on your journey to creating value with data.
Sure. Then the next, of course, then there's also discussion with the organization is about maturity, that we're kind of understanding that where are we with our data things. Are we just starting with it, that we kind of building awareness, or are we already building a culture and building new capabilities, or are we really already on the high level developing business models and engaging in partnerships? So I think it's also good to engage your organization in having that discussion, that where are we exactly with our maturity and where we want to be in the next coming years with it. So this is one way to engage your organization with that discussion, knowing where you are and knowing where you want to be in the coming year. What you mentioned already, is of course also then important to make explicit on what kind of data assets do we have in the company, and make those explicit. They can be assets that are really becoming products for you, or they are really the core assets. The whole understanding about your customers, for example, can be core assets, or just a necessity data that is practical to have in your business in order to be effective. But the model also discusses then the different type of assets and how to manage them. In the awareness material, the slide I like actually best, and I think it's also very good, is considering the assets and using the metaphor of a diamond. Your data asset is, you can be seeing it as a diamond that has value, and the more polished all the facets are in the diamond, the better you're doing with your assets. And this picture shows then the key facets of succeeding with and getting value out of your data diamonds. As you can see in the middle, the culture is of course there in the center. If you that's the essence to get it all going. But on the right side, you see also data quality is mentioned, one important factor there, which we soon then talk a bit more about. The last thing I mention still then about the model also, of course, explains what kind of roles you need to succeed with managing your data. And that's also key success factor to make also the business people and everybody aware that what are their roles and what roles should be in place. So the model explains those key roles. You need to have a head of data, you need to have an executive sponsor who is really behind the whole thing, and you need at least a chief data officer who makes sure that all the structures are in place. And then you can go down in the hierarchy and start to make sure that the critical data assets are being owned, and that then the development initiatives to improve those assets are moving in the right directions.
So what would you say, Menno? This is the material, right, that is available for everyone via the articles that we share in managebt.org website, in the 2 articles that you just mentioned. So if we recap from here, you shared the kind of like a maturity map, right?
Yes.
Where you can estimate where your organization is currently based on those different aspects. And then what would you say, how would you proceed then with the data governance model to get a hold of things, so to say? Or how to deploy those articles? Of course, we will go, Ville, more with you to the practical side,
exactly.
how to do it.
So this whole,
what's like for you the essence of this
whole stack of knowledge is, of course, we propose that you go to the practitioner course to get the whole information there, and there is then also the way on how to start to implement it, and there will be then more explanation on the roles you need there, and that's probably the best place to start with, also that recognizing your assets, and then also starting to discuss the roles in the organizations, and then get a kind of positive iteration going on getting your data assets on a higher quality level.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, but then the last, and then I give over to Ilkka to tell really how it in practice is, because then
we have this nickname Ilkka clearly for Ville Ikonen.
Yeah, sorry.
This is like Ville Ilkka Ikonen. Have you heard that before, Ville?
No.
No worries, that happens.
Yeah. I don't know where the Ilkka comes from. I'm sorry about that. Then is about the data quality. So that's one of the facets of the diamond of the data quality or the data asset diamond. Now I'm really confused about the Ville and the Ilkka, but sorry. So what the model says is, of course, then what is the consequence of running poor data quality. I think, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's also by those PLM projects fails. It very much shows up when taking a new system into use. You have to migrate data, and that's of course a place where you also recognize in a negative way that your data quality might be not in the right shape to succeed with implementing new system. So there's a lot of rework and cleanup that needs to be done, and that costs, of course, money and time. Of course, also data quality has then an aspect on how you fail running your businesses. If you have duplicates in your customer data, there might be then sending the invoice to the wrong addresses, all this type of decision that can cost a lot of costs. And becoming more aware of the cost of poor quality data might be also then a good motivator to start improve the data quality. One slide showing that what data quality means. It can be defined in, of course, in different dimensions of the data quality. The data needs to be kind of complete. You have to have all records and available information there. It needs to be valid, that it is complying with all the business rules you have. Data needs to be consistent, that it's in all the systems used in the same way. You need to find integrity there, that you have the right rules and that you have no orphan records and that type of stuff. Of course, it needs to be unique. You don't want to have your customer data there twice in the system or triple. It needs to also be timeliness, that if data is immediately available, that you don't need to endlessly search for it. So that's also an aspect of quality. And of course, it needs to be accurate, that it really is related to what is in the real world available and it's up to date. So that's what good data quality means. But I think it's now a good time to hand over to Wille and tell what it means in practice and how Konecranes has been succeeding with it.
Yeah, before I start asking questions of you again, because I'm
Oh.
already looking at this, that yes, this is really nice and concrete.
Yeah.
That like 1, 2, 3, first you understand the data, you understand like who used the data, where do we need it for, and then you consider the different dimensions like they are listed here, and then you proceed to finding that high quality for your data. But yeah, maybe that's the topic that Ville will be next opening for us. So how do you, Ville, talk data with the business? Because for what I've understood, not all organizations are necessarily data aversive, but it's not necessarily the hot topic that business people want to discuss at breakfast either.
Yeah, let's try to summarize 10 years of experience in 30 minutes. This is the difficult part, but I'll try to open up how we have done it in Konecranes side. I hope that you can see my presentation and then hear me.
Perfectly fine.
Okay, so just quickly, name was Ville Ikonen and running the master data organization in Konecranes and also building this data governance awareness and organization. And very shortly, we are working in the virtual organization, meaning that all our data owners are in business. We have now at the moment more than 600 people that have dual role also in data area, and I'm running this virtual master data organization. And I have over 20 years experience from the IT in overall, and last 5 years heavily concentrating on this data governance and data quality. Before jumping into the actual content, mandatory slides from the Konecranes. So if you want to know more about the Konecranes as a company, go to the www.konecranes.com. And we are world-leading company serving broad range of customers like manufacturing, process industries, shipyards, ports, and terminals. And we have over 80 years experience in our businesses. And I won't go through our strategy, but I just want to point out that data is really visible in everything in our strategy. And it's showing a strong commitment from our management that why the data and digitalization is important for Konecranes. So our target is to build these material flow concepts, end-to-end concepts to our customers, and having correct data used and available by the employees and customer throughout the life cycle of the product, then that is a core part of our business strategy and our journey in our digitalization. So just sharing this through the presentation, and please look our website if you want to know more about the Konecranes. Topic what I will start is the data governance. This is now lessons learned from our long journey on the data side. So Konecranes has over 10 years background with master data management, and last 3 years we have been building the awareness in the data governance, and in some areas we have been done lots of development and good results, and some areas we are also taking the baby steps. But I'll try to now not use technological topics or words and try to concentrate on the business language, that what would be good things for you to start as a business leader. And if you are in the IT or other organization, hopefully this presentation will give you some ideas how you can have the discussions with your own business in your organization. So let's start with one of the core topics, that why would you need to pay more attention to data governance? Because I want to start with this one, that not everybody should do this. Data governance and digitalization, those are hype things. They require really an effort from the organizations to start to implement those and really take the benefits out of it. So a couple of things that you should think about from your organizations. Are you in this situation? So if you are working in the business that you are already starting or have started your journey into digitalization, then you really need to pay attention with the data governance. Because when in the old times, people are producing something and selling something to other people, if there are problems with data, the humans will correct automatically those problems. If there is a wrong address in the CRM, the sales guy knows it. But when you digitalize your services and products and IT system and processes, then the system does not automatically fix those problems in data for you. So digitalization and data governance, they need to really work hand in hand. Size of organization. If you are working in a so small business that, for example, the whole customer life cycle with your company, so starting from the first sales that you do with your customer until to the situation that the customer is not anymore doing business with you, if that whole life cycle is managed by one team only, there are a group of people who do all the service with that customer and they know everything and they create the data, then you have probably already things in quite well in hand because the people know it. But if you are working in the larger organization that you might have many teams serving the same customer in different steps of the life cycle, then there are lots of handovers happening between your teams, from sales to manufacturing to delivery, after sales, customer support, IT support. All of those teams need to have the same understanding from that customer, from that product. So you might be having problems with the data quality if you don't plan all of these handovers between the teams well in advance. Third thing is that if you are in the company that you are selling data as a product, for example, if you are selling weather forecast to other corporations, then you have data as your product. Definitely you must have already had some activities in this area. So that will need definitely data governance practices in place in your company. And then of course, if your company has any other good, strong commitment done already in your business strategy, then go for it. Start the data governance journey because it's the business and business strategy that defines and owns the data. So definitely start to work with data governance. It might be quite overwhelming to look all of these materials that Menno mentioned. There are, by the way, really good articles there available. Check those, read those, because they will help you to plan your journey in the data. But a couple of words that how to start the data journey. The old sentence that probably you have heard, that how to eat the elephant, because it's huge. So I have a couple of steps that we have seen useful to start with. So 4 steps. Always start from your management team in the organization and increase the data awareness. So if you have 5, 8, 10 people in your management team, they probably have different backgrounds and different understanding that what is data. To somebody it's a database, bits in the database. To somebody else it might be a document, and to somebody else it might be something related to the laws. So make sure that everybody in the management team have the same baseline starting point, that what does the data mean. And there are lots of good consultant companies who can help with that. The investment is not that big in the first step, but it just needs some time from the management team to start to work together. And as you heard already, I said that the first vision and steps should be done quite quickly. So set the first goals to your organization and show the commitment. So I can tell that if you don't have the management commitment done, and you send a couple of never heard guys from the somewhere on the organization to the factory management, and they start to talk that, hey, you have this lean process implementation going, and let's clean your data quality at the same time. If that factory management hasn't never ever heard about you, then you can imagine that it won't fly. So management needs to show the commitment when you start to have this journey, and the first goal doesn't need to be the full data strategy immediately. It can be just that we want to have in first year all our information assets listed and identified. Start with small targets, and then when awareness is growing and you understand more what are your data assets or information assets, then it's easier to start to plan the next steps. Third is I think the most difficult part. Build the common language into your organization. And some of you probably have heard this kind of a sentence that you need to start to talk data. Well, start to talk data. You can do it by building your competencies and skills into your organization, or buying externals or recruiting new people, and then start to talk data. But what does it really mean, that talking data? Well, I have now one example. In the right side of this presentation, you can see the picture, and you probably can quickly identify that there must be some kind of signature happening. So person is signing a contract or agreement. Every businesses have agreements. It's a legally binding commitment done between two or multiple parties, where you agree the terms and commitments between these parties. But what does it actually mean in the corporation, and what does it mean to talk data? Some businesses probably have even bought already contract management systems, and they have had the discussion with the IT department and have had the journey to list that, okay, we want to have system for 100 users, and we want that it can manage 10,000 documents, and legal must be able to use it. And then the IT will do the tendering, and they will build it and give you the IT tool called contract management system. But what happens after that? Then it's up to probably from somebody from business to upload the documents there and start to think about that, okay, what do we do with this tool? But if you have people in your organizations who are already data oriented, or they are working with the data mindset, they can help you to make this journey easier by increasing the understanding that what you need from this kind of contract management system. So these data mindset people will be starting to ask you that, okay, what do you mean by agreement? Okay, it's called also contract, but what type of agreements you have in the business? And I think all the business people can easily say that, of course, we have sales agreements. Then the data guy will ask that, who owns those? So owning means that somebody who defines that this sales agreement is valid, it has correct information in it, and it's really legally binding. You can somehow measure the content. Well, it's quite easy to say that it's the sales organization, it's the sales process owner who can define it, or somebody in the sales organization who is responsible of developing the sales in the business side. So immediately the data-oriented person can identify that, okay, you have at least one type of agreements, and the ownership of those agreements is identified quite quickly. Then the data guy will be asking that, what about purchasing? Are you buying anything, and do you have agreements there? And is the sales owning those two? Well, of course not. It's procurement who is owning those purchase agreements. Okay, you have two different business functions who need to have requirements and support from this system. IT guys are happy that, okay, we need to talk with two stakeholders when we buy this new contract management system. But then the data guy will be asking that, is that really all? So do you have employees who are also doing contracts with the company? For example, NDAs, and it's probably HR who is owning those agreements. So this is a quick example about talking data. There is no IT technologies. There is a quickly done identification of 3 types of agreements that the companies have, and that they all have different business owner who understands the content of those agreements and can define, for example, retention policies. HR knows the laws, local laws. They know how long you can store and you are allowed to store employment agreements. Procurement knows the laws and requirements in their side, and same happens in sales. Of course, you always have legal who needs to have access and visibility to everything, but it shouldn't be always legal who defines the retention policy in your organization for your agreements, because the actual understanding of those requirements for different types of agreements are coming from different side of businesses. So this is example from talking data. No IT needed, no technologies, everything should be in business language, and quite quickly you can start to build your awareness that, okay, what kind of information assets we have and who is owning those. And when you have done a couple of years journey, you will end up on these kind of pictures showing then actually how many different kind of agreements types you have. So in Konecranes, we have all the yellow boxes are some kind of agreements, and almost everything are owned by different business people. For example, insurance contracts are not owned by the same guy who is defining the subcontracting agreements. And most of those have different retention policies and archiving policies and times. So this is what will be then the result after a couple of years working. But what does it help? It helps you to identify that what kind of data you really have and who owns it. That's really important, because the owner can help you then to make sure that you are fulfilling the laws, you are understanding your data, and you are able to develop your data. So build the common language, talk data, and this is example what talking data means. No IT technology needed, no databases needed, just business language. Then I had the 4th step here. Well, that's the visibility. So after you have built the basic awareness, you have acquired at least one person in your organization who can talk data and start to do some kind of data modeling and identifying the information assets. Then start to create quickly the visibility. And we have this saying in Konecranes that how can you fix something if you don't know it's broken? And that leads us then to the data quality. And data quality, as you saw already on the introduction, that there are many different ways how the data quality can be defined and monitored and valued. I would say that let the details to be handled by your data-oriented people, your data governance organization. But as a business person, focus in a couple of topics. So first of all, create the visibility into your data quality. And when you start to do it, don't immediately believe everything that you hear from the IT or technology side, because IT guys know that there are hundreds of thousands of data attributes into databases. And if you start to monitor everything, it's waste of time and money. You don't need everything. But instead, you should be focusing on those data elements, data attributes that are really, really important for your business. And it's not easy to understand that what is my critical business data. So a couple of hints that how you can do it. One thing how you can identify the data quality is go through your business processes. For example, if you start from the sales funnel, you need two persons, one from business side who understand the business process, the sales funnel, what are the requirements and each of the steps there, who is doing the work. And then you need this data-oriented guy who is the first in your organization, and you need to put them in one room to talk about that. Okay, what is the minimum amount of data that we need to register a lead, and what data is really needed when we start to create these qualified leads and start to create opportunities. So they need to start to go through the business process and understand that what do they need. For example, when you start to create leads, I can tell that contact information is important, but is it important to check all the text added information from the CRM system, that how old the person is, or when they are celebrating their birthday, or how many kids they have? That helps you probably to keep the contact with customers, but focus only the data that is really needed in each step of this. For example, in this example, in sales funnel related activities. And when those process owner and data oriented person have been listed all of these steps, they should be having a maximum 30 or 40 attributes that they see that these are really important. And those are then the business critical data for your sales funnel related activities. And those are the ones that you need to start to quantify, create KPIs, and most importantly, decide that who owns this sales funnel related data, who needs to follow the quality and make sure that the sales funnel process works well. So that's how you need to start to understand what data for your business processes you need to start to follow the data quality. Then I have had quite many discussions with many consultants that why can't you just copy the data quality metrics from one company and put it into the use in other company? Well, I think that it's not possible completely. You can do it for customer master data or supplier data or employee data, something that everybody have common. The local laws of handling employee data, it's quite similar for all the businesses, but then you need to ask from yourself that if you have customer, vendor, and employee data tip-top, good quality, are you winning the game? Or are you still missing some important data? And a couple of examples how we have in Konecranes done this prioritization, that how we did decide that what is business critical data. So we have 3 different business areas. First one is the Konecranes industrial equipment. They are doing mainly configure to order products and selling those through our sales configurator applications. So we have supporting tools for our sales guys where all the configurations and data is ready. So 150% bill of material information is there. And they just select the values that, okay, this customer wants this kind of hoist. And for them, product data is really important because the sales configurator doesn't work unless you have the good quality data. Then Port Solution is having engineered to order products. And for them, the one project where they sell, build, and deliver the project, it can last years. So for them, project data is really, really important, and they cannot live without that. And then the third business area, our service business, well, they are maintaining any cranes and hoists, also some our competitor cranes. So for them, it's really important to have the equipment data in good shape. And this already gives, for me as a head of master data management, three different, quite different priorities, different stakeholders, and they all need to have visibility to data quality that is important for them. Of course, they have some common data, but not all. And just a food for thought, if you continue with the same ideology, think about that. What could be the most crucial data for Finnair or Destia, who is building the infrastructure in the Kone in Finland, or Valve, who is building these gaming platforms and games. So they have in their business strategy, and their products are completely different. So I wouldn't be able to copy Konecranes product data quality rules to Destia. Wouldn't fly. So the need for the critical visibility for the data varies from business to business when you start to really think that what is the product and how do we manufacture and sell the product, then all the businesses are a little bit different. So what have we benefited when we did all this? So we were able to track the problems quite well in advance. For example, our e-commerce help desk, they have tools to check that if customer calls and says that I can't find the spare part that I'm looking for, or I don't know where the the spare part catalog is available. So our help desk already can check that, is this caused by missing data, or is it really the IT problem? So with this, we were able to already squeeze down the number of IT-related tickets to the IT help desk, because the people were immediately able to see that, okay, is the data quality in good shape in all of 7 systems that are required in order for the end customer to see the spare parts in the web shop. We have been able to analyze that which reports we can trust. This is something that dates back years back, that when I was introducing our master data management around the organization, and I was talking with the controllers, and I asked our controllers that is there any report that you don't trust? And unfortunately at that time they were laughing that, hey, I don't trust any report that I get, so I always double check the numbers what I see. And by having visibility to data quality, you can build also trust to your information that your reports are given. So that will also then reduce the amount of time needed, for example, your finance organizations to use to double check all the numbers or gather the information from different systems if you already have a data quality visibility to your source systems. And we have been able to optimize our operational excellence. So we learned this hard way around. So when we implemented our Konecranes, one Konecranes processes in our factories years back, I think it was 10 years ago, well, we learned that data quality is important, and we analyzed our processes and learned that if we don't have the data quality in ERP system in good shape, then every time when we manufacture, deliver, sell something, it causes extra time and effort for people in the factory to fix those data errors. But now that we have the visibility, we are able to in advance fix those errors. And we have been able to then better understand our customer needs. For example, when we know that which equipment assets are installed in customer premises, what those assets really are, which spare parts fit to those assets, and so on. We have been able to better serve our customers because we can already a little bit in advance see that, okay, they will have something breaking in a couple of weeks, and by the way, it's this spare part that they will need. And here is just an example from yesterday. So these are just screenshots from our data quality solution provided by Tikean from yesterday. So to me, this information tells that we have 7.8 million items in each of the plants in our global ERP system, and 91% of those are having such a quality that if we use those in any of our business processes, the process will work. It won't stop. But we still have 650,000 items that have errors. So if we use any of those in sales or manufacturing, it means that it will cost us 5 minutes of extra work for somebody to fix it. So this is how we see it for example, in our ERP. Same goes with the sales organization data. There we are even better, and we have 7.6 million records that are related to the sales organization data. Of course, I picked the best ones for you. We have also some data areas where the quality percentage is like 45, but just wanting to show that you can achieve good quality data. It takes effort, and you can benefit from that, because when you can see where the problems are, and when you know that who owns the data, you can immediately contact those people and tell that, hey, in your plant, you have problems. You are the nominated owner of the data, and you need to fix it. And by having this plus 600 people around the organization in our master data virtual team, then this is the result. And that was the last slide from me, and I would like to end my presentation with a short YouTube video about our master data management process and how the master data is everybody's business in Konecranes, and why the business really is the owner of the data. Thank you.
We all remember a reoccurring system glitch from some part of our working history. They are usually due to an error in master data. Data that is created once, but used many times. Like in this case, a wrong weight unit, pounds instead of kilograms, is inserted in creating a new part. Next, a sales representative wonders the weight, but decides to create the order anyway. The purchaser who needs to buy the inverter for the hoist changes the weight in the PO, but does not have it fixed in the system. So the error still stays in the master data. This causes issues in the factory and warehouse, and may lead to physical harm to workers and facilities. Delivery is also delayed, and later, during service, an accident happens. The customer experience of spare parts sales is disappointing, causing sales to decline. Mistakes are human, and of course we can't fully avoid them. They are continuously collected and reported in data reports and shared to the data process owners and master data key users, who decide how to best address the issue. Ultimately, someone in your organization needs to go and fix it somehow. We will always have some false data in our system, but we can reduce it easily. We have seen that after training, people have been able to reduce poor master data even by 90%. In the end, taking care of our master data is taking care of the quality of our work and creating a shared ability to trust in our people and systems. We are all masters of our master data.
Ville, that was so encouraging what you said. I almost felt like, hey, I can do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is easy. But then when you showed the dashboard data, well, I wasn't quite so sure anymore that I could actually do it. But you have, so I'm sure that many others will be able to do the same excellent work with data. There are a few final questions in the Q&A. So, for example, Ville, Menno, if either of you can address it, how and where do we collect metadata?
Which one first?
You started.
Well, okay, I can start. So that is one of the knowledge areas well, if you check the data management model. So the metadata management is the area where we are just having the first baby steps. At the moment, our understanding is that if we want to do it well, we need to start to create and collect the metadata already from the source system, not from the data lake afterwards. It's quite huge task, but that's one area that it's still just in the beginning of its journey. We don't have that many people in our organization understanding that area, but it's coming.
Okay, so it's kind of its own stream of data, or its own.
Yes. So we have started to implement this DAMA model, data management model, and I can say that I think we have the data security, master data management, and data quality, data architecture, and data modeling initiated quite well. But then we still have lots of areas that we need to develop. So metadata management and, for example, content and document management, those we have still lots of to do and to coordinate the activities. So we are good in small silos, but then having this kind of enterprise level view on all the activities what we are doing, that is then the next step to do in the data governance area.
And would you be able to describe in a simple manner for people like myself as to what is metadata in this context?
Data that describes the data. So, for example, if you have a weight, as in the YouTube video, the metadata would be then telling that which system the information is coming, telling that it's kilograms, and for example, that who has created the data. So information that tells you that what does this 50 kilos mean and how can you use it. So an amount of metadata, it can be quite huge when you start to build the metadata model there, but basically it's just describing that what does this number tell you.
Good, that's a good and clear answer. And then we also had a question related to the business technology standard does it have commonality with COBIT when it comes to data governance?
Yeah, so in the chat that Kim Karvinen was asking, yeah, I could show you quickly the slides, because indeed the whole idea of the business technology standard is that it is can be used in parallel, or is more or less compliant with the standards out there. So indeed the COBIT is part, and we have been using it for our minimal viable governance. And Ville was also referring to the DMBOK. So the data governance model is also compliant with those. So those standards can be used in parallel, or have been also used to develop those extensions.
Good. I want to thank all our participants this afternoon, and definitely both panelists, Ville and Menno. Thank you so much for this session. And also thank you, Tikean, for helping to organize this event today. I'm sure that it was very, very useful. And if anyone is wondering as to why Konecranes and Tikean were here today, it's because Tikean was providing the tool that enabled you to do this fantastic progress, Ville, at Konecranes. Yeah,
the data quality tool, it's basically custom built from the needs that Konecranes has, but Tikean is providing the cloud-based service at the moment. So we have used it quite long already, and the visibility to data quality, it really helps a lot.
Yes, And then Konecranes, you have also been reviewing the data quality articles and data articles that we have been creating. So that's the link to the three actors of this afternoon. Also, like Menno mentioned earlier, if you want to develop your capabilities related to data governance, for example, there is a course coming up in November this year. That's quite far ahead, so it's easy to plan for it since everybody is so busy. So that information and other BT standard related trainings as well, you can easily navigate to the net. And if you want to network, Ville is more than happy to network with other data enthusiasts, as we are all struggling with the same problems, and it's not clever to bang our heads at the same door if somebody already has a key. So please network, and Jouko Eronen, the CEO of Tigan, is also more than happy to help if you're interested in this cloud-based service that Konecranes is using as well. And welcome to contact info@btforum.org if you should like to have these presentations or any other additional information related to the standard, to the courses or upcoming webinars or what not. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great Wednesday afternoon.
Thank you all. Goodbye.
And to John, if you thought that this was just starting now, don't worry. We will share this recording on our website so you can have a look at it right away or then at a later occasion. No problem there.